The NBA trade deadline has come and gone for another year. Plus, the Bulls played a game today against the Toronto Raptors. Talk about it right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome back to another episode of Whole Lot of Bull. I'm Troy. Follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Troy. But more importantly, you can follow the show at Whole Lot of Bull. So the NBA deadline has come and gone for another year. And boy, did the Chicago Bulls, as we know for the previous couple of days, made some wholesale changes, and it continued into the final hours of the trade deadline. Um, now the I'll get into the first deal of the day in a second that was made by the Bulls, but there was another slight move by Chicago. Now we remember that were involved in a deal that brought in Usman Jang, and they ended up flipping him to the Phoenix Suns to get another a center in Nick Richards, who had probably had fallen out of favor there in Phoenix, playing behind Mark Williams. They've got Kamal Malawach as a developing big for them as well. Man, I would have loved to have Kamal Malawach instead of Nick Richards, but hey, been a been a little bit of a fan of Richards for a couple of years. He was a type of just the type of center that while he's not going to be some be all and end all starter center, Jalen Smith is probably going to be the starting center for the remainder of the season. Nick Richards will come in and be a nice backup, and will continue to be the type of archetype center that the Bulls need. He's going to get out. He's going to rebound. He's going to contest shots. He can be a lob threat for you. That'll pair nicely with Josh Giddey as well. So that'd be very interesting to see. I'm not mad at all at that little deal. No, some people think, oh, I would have rather just kept Usman Jang. Well, no, you know, I don't know about Usman Jang. I'm quite fine of just letting him go off to Phoenix and do what he does there. With Nick Richards, you're getting a really solid backup center there. So that's a deal I do like for the Bulls today. Quick little news before I get into the main trade of the day. Now there was a lot of Bulls fans yesterday bitching and moaning about why did they do the Dalen Terry to the New York Knicks for Gershon Yabusele trade. It's going to eat into their salary cap space for next season. Well, Casey Johnson reported today that um, before I think before the trade even happened, and who knows how far back it actually happened, but there was a renegotiation between the Knicks and Yabusele to remove his player option and second year on that contract. So he will be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. So he is an expiring deal. He doesn't have a player option. There's no restricted free agency. He expires at the end of the year, and he will be an unrestricted free agent. The Bulls keep their salary cap flexibility. They don't lose that little bit of $5.5 million out of 90-something million in cap space. So for all you Bulls fans out there who were bitching and moaning about, oh, they just lost a little bit of cap space for next season, well, there you go. They didn't actually lose it at all. All right, so on to the main trade for today, and this was a trade I did not see coming at all. And to be quite frank, I'm quite pissed about this trade. I do not like this trade whatsoever for Chicago. I wanted to get on the first flight to Chicago and slap the living shit out of a tourist kind of shows for this deal. Trading Iodu Sumu, as well as Julian Phillips, to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and 4 second-round picks. Now, it was one thing that we've been hearing for most of the season, that the Bulls were going to have to make a decision between Kobe White or Ida Sumu. Could they have kept both if they chosen to going into free agency? Yes, that the Bulls had the salary cap space there to do it. But there's been a discussion all year about is it gonna be Kobe? Is it gonna be Io? Which one they're gonna hold on to? Which one will they move on from? When Kobe got traded, it seemed like, okay, they are gonna hold on to onto Io Dosunmu, which that was that's what I would have done as well. Absolutely. I would have as soon as you traded Kobe White, I would have been on the phone to Io's agent and trying to work out an extension. If you could sign an extension now with Io Dosunmu, that's what I would have been if I was AK. Been on the phone to his agent, say, hey, let's get an extension done, sign him on for a 5 year extension, and keep him in Chicago for the long term. But instead, they sent him off to cold ass Minnesota, where he will get to go help compete for an NBA title with the Minnesota Timberwolves. This one stings, and this trade sucks as far as because this was a complete utter failure of a trade from Maturas Karnisovas. I can understand to a certain degree you couldn't get a first round pick back for Kobe White, but you couldn't get a first for Ida Sumu. The guy was at his absolute peak value. He was at his peak value, and this is what we get. Dillingham, Leonard Miller, who is the brother of former Bulls, now former two-way player Emmanuel Miller, who we traded to Cleveland, and 4 second-round picks. Now, for some reason, out of nowhere, Arturas kind of shows after saying probably only a matter of weeks ago he doesn't value second-round picks. Now has an absolute plethora of second-round picks. I believe it's up to like 14 second-round picks that Arturas kind of shows has um, in the kitty now. So where this is completely flipped, and apparently now he absolutely values second round picks. I did listen to his press conference today, but that was quite a few hours ago now, so I don't really remember much. I will probably get into it tomorrow on Bulls Without Borders. So make sure you tune in for that episode tomorrow. Myself, Phil, Neil, Hayes, Guilty. I'm sure he'll be on. Maybe even Sal. I'm not sure of the exact lineup, but check us out. Check us out on Bulls Without Borders tomorrow. And as we break down the trade deadline and we all give our opinions and have a discussion about what we think is coming for the Bulls. And what I personally think right now is coming for the Chicago Bulls is probably going to be a bit of a soft tank. Now, the outgoing roster for Chicago: Kobe White, Aya Dosunmu, Nikola Vucevic, Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry, Javon Carter, Kevin Herter. 7 players gone. In comes Anthony Simons, Jaden Miller, Colin Sexton, Nick Richards, Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and Gershon Ubasale. That's wholesale changes. There's only 6 players remaining from the roster. Josh Giddey, Trey Jones, Patrick Williams, Isaac Okoro, Marcus Bazelis. And I'm sure there's one that's skipping my mind right now, but there's only more than half the roster was flipped at this deadline. That's essentially the point I'm making. More than half the roster was flipped. So, are we in for a soft tank? A lot of NBA media like Brian Windhurst and a lot of Bulls fans are saying, well, it's too late to tank. They're still not going to be bad enough to tank properly. They've left it too late, but they're not good enough to really be in the play-in either. It's like all of you seem to forget the last 2 years, the Dallas Mavericks and the Atlanta Hawks both had the number 1 pick in the draft, and where did they both finish in the overall NBA standings in terms of the lottery standings? Where did they both finish? 11th. And when it came to the lottery standings, both those teams finished 11th and ended up with the number 1 pick in the draft. That's why it's called a lottery. So some may say the Bulls have left the tanking too late. The Bulls are not going. I don't think the Bulls are going to make the play, and they're going to drop out of the playing race. The Charlotte Hornets probably will and should overtake the Bulls. So we'll be so we could well be in line for finishing 10th, ninth or 10th in the lottery standings, depending on how it goes with the Western Conference. Let's see if I can quickly find the NBA standings over. Actually, you know what? Let's just go to Tankathon. That's a better way to look at it. As it stands right now, the Bulls are 12th in the lottery standings, just behind the Clippers, who they just sold off Ivan Zubac to the Indiana Pacers, and like James Harden, but they're bringing in Darius Garland. It's going to be tricky it's going to be very interesting to see which way that team is going. And actually, if I am not mistaken, the Bulls are now they are now in 11th spot after today's game, which we'll get into a little bit later. So the Clippers, be interesting to see which direction they're going. Will Portland get their shit back together again and start winning? With Giannis staying in Milwaukee, when he comes back, will they start winning games? So there's definitely some opportunity here for the Bulls to climb up the lottery standings. And but hey, you just can't. This is why it's a lottery. You cannot rule out. You just can't rule out anything happening at this stage. You just can't do it. So it's gonna be very interesting to see where this team goes. I think it's gonna I think they're gonna rise up the lottery standings, and I think they're gonna probably be fun bad at times, and I think at times they're just gonna be bad bad. Um, if today's game was anything to go by, there might be fun bad, but this is gonna be a team that's built around Josh Giddey and Marcus Buzelis, and there's gonna be a lot of Anthony Simons is gonna be trying to prove his worth. Jaden Ivey, he's gonna look to prove his worth. Colin Sexton, fuck that guy off already. We don't need him in Chicago. I don't give a damn what he proves. Get rid of that. I wish they'd buy him out. But we shall see what happens for the remainder of the season. Just don't be surprised if the Bulls do climb up the lottery standings quite a bit. So with that being said, the Chicago Bulls did play a game today. They did play up in Toronto against the Raptors, and did go down. After putting up a bit of a fight at one point. Getting this game tied again. I think it was tied at 73. The Bulls do go down by 16 points, 123 to 107 to the Toronto Raptors. And the Bulls did have some debuts of some new players. Mac McClung, who signed a two-way deal after Emmanuel Miller vacated his two-way deal after that deal to the Cleveland Cavaliers. He played some minutes today. Gershon Yubusele, he made his Chicago Bulls debut. Had a nice game. 15 points, 11 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, 6 of 11 from the field, and 3 of 6 from downtown. Mostly playing some backup power forward and center minutes there as well. Jaden Ivey, he comes in struggles a little bit from the field in his first game. 5 of 12 from the field, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. So that's good numbers there. 13 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and it did have a couple turnovers. So, despite apart from the 5 of 12 shooting there for Jaden Ivey, a nice debut. And then Anthony Simons, he comes in, leads the Bulls in scoring with 22 points, 8 of 15 from the field, 6 of 13. 13 three-point attempts by a single Chicago Bulls player. 2 rebounds, 3 assists. So Anthony Simons coming in and I think he's, I'm sure Patty, my mate Patty, hey, Patty, drop some comments down below about Anthony Simons. Or hit him up on Twitter. Hit him up in the Discord. If you're a Bulls fan and you want to know about Anthony Simons, Patty, for those who don't know, is a Portland Trail Blazers fan. He knows all about Anthony Simons. So, but yeah, it looks like he's going to come in and get some. He's going to probably take that Kobe White role, and he's gonna do it in a way where he's also going to be less trying to shake and bake and spin and do all the sort of stuff that that made Kobe look nice, but kind of frustrated you at the same time. He looks like Anthony Simons is going to be far more under control version of Kobe White. Be very interested to see what kind of role Jaden Ivey plays for the Bulls. And just to run through some of the other numbers as well for Chicago. So Isaac Okoro, 10 points, 3 of 8 from the field, misses all 4 3-point attempts, 2 boards and assists and a steal. Marcus Buzelis, 18 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, 7-11 from the field, 2 of 6 from downtown. Jalen Smith continued to do what Jalen Smith does, 13 points, 9 boards, 6 of 11 from the field, but does miss all 3 3-point attempts. Already gone through the numbers for Jaden Ivey and Ant Simons. Patrick Williams comes off the bench, 9 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, struggled from the field, 3 of 12 from the field, 3 of 8 but all 3 makes come from beyond the arc. He was 3 of 8 overall from there. Already mentioned Gershon Yabusele. Yuki Karamura comes in as well. Only has the 3 points and 1 of 4 from the field, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc. 7 assists off the bench for Yuki, 2 boards, and then Mac McClung, 4 points, a rebound assist, 2 of 7 from the field. I don't need to I mean, it's just me. I didn't need to see Mac McClung on the court at all. When you've got Ivy, Simons, Yuki, I know this is just me, and I know Billy Donovan with a high up tempo, like the high paced game. You don't probably want to have a 3 guard rotation, but I personally don't need it. I don't need to see Mac McClung. He's not an NBA level player. Lockie Ulbrich, comes in his 4 minutes, only has the 1 assist in this game, and is absolute zeros across the board. So in his 4 minutes, Lockie normally comes in and has some sort of impact, gets a few boards, all that. This one, Lockie just had no impact at all. Whereas, for the Toronto Raptors, Brandon Ingram just came in and absolutely killed us. He was absolutely on fire. 12 of 20 from the field, 5 of 9 from beyond the arc for his 33 points, 6 boards, 6 assists. Manuel quickly, 24 points. Colin Murray Boyles had 17 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. Jacoby Walter for the Raptors, 12 points, 5 boards, 2 assists. The Bulls shot overall 45% from the field, 36% from beyond the arc. Only had 8 free throws in this game. So 4 of those coming from Okoro, 2 from Martis, and 2 attempts from Jalen Smith. They're the only players to get to the free throw line. 7 of 8 overall, 38 rebounds, 28 assists for the Bulls. And this was a game, apart from, a quick little lead for Chicago at the start, this is the game that the Toronto Raptors led from start to finish. Only twice a game was tied, including once in the third quarter. Largest lead for the Toronto Raptors was 17, but the Bulls do win the rebounding count, but that's pretty much all they win in this game. Yeah, looking at the rest of this number, like, yeah, points in the paint for the Toronto is 60-44. Toronto second chance opportunities 20-11. Fast break points for Toronto 17-7. This was a game that Toronto essentially just dominated from start to finish. The Bulls weren't really in this game, but these new guys came out and they competed, and that's all you can ask for. These guys, saw the video that the Chicago Bulls poured out that Anthony Simons and Jaden Ivey arrived in Chicago yesterday, met Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley and some of those guys, and then they get on a flight out to Toronto as well. So those guys would have had some tired legs. Gershon Yabusele, he's barely played this season, and then he plays a lot of minutes, so his legs would have been quite heavy as well. Yeah, there's not much really more I've got to say about this. The trade deadline's come and gone. The Bulls appear to have picked a direction. And I think that direction is going to be on the downturn because apparently, according to Torres kind of show us, he doesn't want to be in the middle. So it looks like he's picked a direction to go down to then rise up. Go down, get some decent a decent draft pick. Hopefully it can land in the top four and we can walk away with a Caleb Wilson. Yes, I'm going to be paying more attention to the prospects coming up because I dare say we're going to be having a top 10 pick in this draft. So if any players that you guys think I should be looking at as a potential top 10 pick, let me know. I'll do what I can to keep an eye on them. It'd be very interesting to see how this team performs when like Nick Richards and Colin Sexton arrive. Rob Dillingham, if he gets some playing time, there's a lot of guards on this team. A lot of guards. Josh Giddey and Trey Jones are still out with injury. We brought in Jaden Ivey, Anthony Simons. We still got Rob Dillingham to come in and play. Colin Sexton is still to play. Where are you going to get the minutes for these guys? But hey, might be a Billy Donovan dream and guards galore, and Josh Giddey might be playing some center minutes at times. We shall see. But anyways, that's going to do it for me tonight, Bulls Nation. Don't forget, you guys, hit the like button on the way out. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Troy, but follow the show at Whole Lot of Bull. Don't forget tomorrow morning, or it might be, by the time you guys are watching it, it's tonight, your time. Bulls Without Borders. We're going to be breaking down the NBA trade deadline and where we see the future of this team going for the rest of the year and going into the off season. So until next time, Bulls fans, see red.